Over the weekend, I've played a lot of Valheim, and I mean a lot. So while coming back to work, I decided it would be awesome to create a loadout built around the general Viking and survival vibe of the game. As soon as I'm done building our castle, that is. Before we start though, if you want to buy cheap skins or hell, save on Valheim by buying a cheap skin and selling it on the Steam market, head to the Skin Wallet Market. Use code YouTube for an extra 2% on your top up. Want to get quick money from your Steam inventory? Head to Skin Wallet Instant and get cash to an e-wallet of your choosing within 24 hours. Got it? Great. Now let's get right into the video, starting with the pistols, as always. We start with the USP-S LED Conduit. Over the last few videos, we've gotten pretty unlucky with the USPs, with none of them really fitting our theme. The LED Conduit definitely fits a bit more with its engravings and lighting, but it's not perfect either. If you're a P2000 fan, the Gnarled is our skin of choice. Does the gnarled tree give ancient bark? We're kind of running low, so we could... Oh wait, what I meant to say is that this skin absolutely fits our vibe and it's great. The same can be said about the Glock-18 Wraiths, which looks like a warning about ghosts carved into the side of a dungeon. That's great. However, the dualies definitely aren't the top of our list. There are no English kingdoms to raid in Valheim, but I guess that's the only way I imagine the real consorts fitting our vibe. For the P250, we went with the Nevermore. Yeah, that creepy skeleton bird. Definitely Valheim. Now, where's my healing me? Because that looks like a boss. For this 5.7, we went with the Copper Galaxy. 2 copper, 3 iron, and you get yourself a Copper Galaxy. Here to kill an unarmored Draugr with a single headshot. Not sure that's true, though. If you're a T-side Viking, you might be inclined to use the same recipe to craft the Tec-9 Brass. Very good for running and gunning down trolls. If you're a CZ kind of person, yeah, this one doesn't fit as much, but it'll have to do. Stolen Chalice, you know the drill. For the Desert Eagle, we went with the Emerald Jormungandr. Strangely enough, it took us this long to get a skin from the Norse collection in, but once we did, it's an absolute banger. The colors, great. The tie-in to Norse mythology, awesome. This one absolutely works. If you want to be a Norse cowboy, however, our choice is much less fitting, yet still pretty cool. Don't tell Hollywood about Viking cowboys though. They'll make a bad movie out of it, and everybody's gonna have an R8 revolver bone forged in it. We move on to the shotguns with the Nova Antique. Shotguns are oftentimes the hardest part of creating the loadout. The Antique is more 18th century than 8th century, but it'll have to do given we're short on other choices. The Mag 7 Chainmail is much more medieval though, pretty good protection against enemies coming your way. For the sawed-off, we went with the Highwayman. The Highwayman is associated with the North, but not quite the North we're looking for. However, the Scots and Norsemen have a lot of common history, so let's go with that. For the XM1014, we went with the Frostboar. Another Norse collection skin. The Frostboar is based around a popular Norse style of geometric patterns and looks absolutely beautiful. If you play Pop Dog on Train or Hut on Nuke, you will love this skin. For the M249, we went with the Magma. Nothing too special here, however, you know what? Iceland is a volcanic island. Volcanoes have magma. There's our connection. Next. For the Negev, we went with the Mjolnir. And the Mjolnir is an obvious choice, even if it's one that's hellishly expensive. Thor's hammer is the second rarest skin in the Norse collection, and even if its price is mostly influenced by the wonderful Gungnir, it's still a beautiful skin on its own. For the MP9, we went with the Hydra. Yeah, I know, Hydras don't really exist in Norse mythology. However, they're giant serpents. Valheim has giant serpents. It all checks out, also the look is pretty good. For the Mach 10, we went with the Copper Boar. Perhaps the most fitting skin of all for our theme, the Copper Boar combines Norse vibes with the ever-valuable copper, creating an awesome Norse boar. This is a great fit. For the MP7, we went with the Ocean Foam. The MP7 was more problematic, and eventually I've decided to settle on the good old cop-out of, there are oceans in Valheim, right? Right, next. The MP5SD, yeah, we went with the Dirt Trop, and I mean, can we get more skins for the MP5, please? There's dirt in Valheim. There was dirt in Scandinavia. That's all I got for you. The UMP45 Arctic Wolf won't be a cop-out though. It looks good, it reminds us of the North, and did I mention it really looks good. For the P90, we're back to the Jormungandrs, forcing me to twist my tongue again saying Astral Jormungandr. But this one might be my favorite color-wise. I love blue skins, and the snake-like knots really shine through here with its shifting green and blue tint. For the PP-Bizon, we went with the Runic. The Bison was a much harder pick, but eventually the runic inscriptions on the Runic were good enough for it to enter the loadout. For the FAMAS, we went with a Night Boar. Our final boar skin of the set is likely the most boring of the bunch. It's nice, but a little bland compared to the others. Still, the classic Viking look puts it right into our loadout. For the Galil AR, we went with the Crimson Tsunami. The Galil didn't have a clear-cut favorite, and it was hard to choose anything that worked. In the end, the Ocean Waves on the rifle was the cop-out I decided to go for. Ocean, Viking, you know the drill. For the SSG08, we went with the Abyss. Spooky beasts are everywhere in Valheim, and the night oftentimes feels like the Abyss. This skin is also pretty darn rad. For the M4A4, we went with the Howl. The day has finally come. The Howl is in a loadout video. The M4 really needs some cooler skins. We thought about the Royal Paladin, but that's just meh, and that Fiery Wolf will have to do. If you don't have a load of money, the 2 Fairy can be a sort of alternative, although the Jokerish writing kinda ruins the vibe. For the M4A1-S, we went with Nightmare, which is much cheaper, and I must admit that I like its vibe far more. A shadowy monster in the middle of a dark forest? Sounds like Valheim, alright. For the AK-47, we're back to a sailor's worst fears with the Aquamarine Revenge. I mean, Vikings definitely sailed seas full of dolphins at certain times. I can't imagine getting a bunch of them angry would be smart. For the AUG, we have the last opportunity for me to butcher the pronunciation of Jormungandr. The Flame Jormungandr is pretty damn cleaned up. For the SG, we go with one of my favorite recent skins with the Darkwing. Spooky, cool. It's got it all. For the AWP, we went with the Gungnir. I mean, it couldn't be anything but Odin's mythical spear. Its pricing is unfortunate, and the exoskeleton can serve as a budget replacement for it in this loadout. But we just couldn't skip this one. As always, we finish out our guns with the auto snipers. This time we've gone with the Brass. Simple enough, I don't think there's much to be said about this one. And we finish it all off with the Hunter. And I must admit, this gun would probably make deer hunting in Valheim much easier. Finally, for the knife, we've gone with the Bayonet Lore. Even though I had my reservations about the gold earlier, the knots on the lore are worth the coloristic discrepancy. If you don't look at it too closely, it can even sort of pass for a medieval knife. It definitely fits Valheim's fantasy vibe. Finally, for the gloves, we went with the hand-wrap Slaughter just because of their simplicity. There's not much else to it, to be honest. And that would be all for today. I'm going back to building our castle in Valheim, while you should go and follow our socials. All the links are in the description. Hope you have a great day. Cheers!